Oh, blast off. Hello, everybody. This is Elisha Keating from wisdomseekers.net. Emphasis on the .net because we're not .com. And today we have with us Elizabeth. And I have absolutely zero idea what she's going to talk about. So with that, Elizabeth.
I have no idea what I'm going to talk about either. It's going to be a fun day.
Oh, wow. Yeah, we could talk about that the video I did yesterday. That was really good.
With the author, I cannot pronounce.
Lynn.
Yeah,
and I have to, if I want to read her name, I have to go find
the phonetic spelling of it.
Find the phonetic spelling of it. But I think here it is.
And it is found.
Lynn Nguyen's Ing.
Yeah, she's a member, I think, of both our groups.
I believe so.
She published a really good book.
Yeah, I like the storyline she had for her sci fantasy.
Yeah, she's such a friendly person too. I really enjoyed that video.
It was. I was a little leery, but it was easy. I thought I was a little afraid because I don't know her like I know you.
Yeah.
So my question is, when do I get to interview you about your book?
When I get money to publish it. I'm going to try to hire a publisher to publish it, which means they will find me an editor and I won't have to do the hard work. Like she had to do all the hard work for her book. I think I'm just going to pay somebody to do that. They'll handle the copyright, the publishing, the advertising, and things like that. So whenever I get my money, yay. You hear that, people? Buy readings.
Wait, there's a comment.
Oh, good.
She says, "Hello, ladies."
Hi, Angela.
Hey. What would you like us to talk about today?
Yeah, what is on your mind, Angela?
Well, let you pick the topic. So if I pick it, we're probably going to go down some dark road, nefarious road where most people don't get to travel. So.
Did somebody chop off Marshall Haird's tail?
Allegedly, they told me he was born that way.
So then he's got Australian Shepherd in him and it feels different with the Australian Shepherd. It feels different.
Well,
I'm not sure. I'm going to question the vet when I bring him to get him fixed on whether or not that's actually the case, if they can tell, because they told me he was a mix between a husky and a German Shepherd, which both breeds have full tails.
Full tails. Australian Shepherd's the only one I know that doesn't.
Right. So
have a tail, but you put your hand on it.
You don't.
It feels different.
Yeah.
Because I had Australian Shepherd.
See, and I kind of just want them to check that out just to be sure. I really kind of.
That's another trauma, right?
Yeah, I really kind of think that.
All right, we have a bunch of, I'm just going to talk over you. We have a bunch of comments. Sandra Burley Excel, sorry. And Kathy Dennis, both said.
Hi.
Says, I'm not really sure. This is my first time. I actually got to make it to one of your podcasts.
Oh, yay!
Or to the insanity that is wisdomseekers.net.
Oh, you're going to have so much fun.
Yeah.
Good luck. Hang on for the ride. We'll talk about anything you want to talk about. If you want to ask a question, ask a question. This is chit chat. This is when you get to talk to us.
Yeah.
So
we didn't do any interactive. One of us will answer questions if you choose. Just don't do too many because it's more interesting to hear us talk, honestly.
Yeah, and if you have a topic you're interested in, as far as anything, we got a wide.
One of the ones that I really enjoy was when you talk about Faye.
Mm-hmm.
The Faye.
Yeah. Yeah, my mind just accessed all the information I had on that. I went for a little meltdown there for a second.
You went
Sorry
down a
about
rabbit hole.
that. I was like, oh yeah, those guys. So yeah, there's so much information, and people are always interested in fairies, fairy magic, fae, how do you say it? Sith, Today,
She.
yeah, just so many
Pronounce
names,
the, yeah.
and in so many countries, all the legends that we have about.
They all interconnect too, right? I mean, the legends in Finland, per se, are very similar to the legends in Ireland.
That's true about a lot of myths and legends, not
Except
just
for Chinese, Japanese are really strange there.
yeah.
What demons or yokai or legends you go by?
Daughter's a manga
I
fan.
like my Japanese cartoons.
Yeah, we get a lot of that in our house.
Yeah, I bet you do. Angela heard she has something.
Well, she just said I always watch them just afterwards.
Oh, that's sweet. Thank you.
So
Thank
for
you.
keeping.
Yeah, we label a lot of things in that fairy realm. Some of them probably shouldn't be in there.
Some of them would be in the demon realm.
Yeah, you get a lot of misinformation out there. You get a lot of good information too, because it's such a popular topic. And yeah, my son grew up on those stories. I told him those stories growing up. And we would leave the honey and milk out on the porch, and we would do the different things as he grew up. And probably my fault. He's such a strange child.
Is he strange, or is he just really imaginative and creative?
He's very creative. He has his own path. That's another mistake I made. I let him have his own view of life. Should have just been like every other parent. Yeah. Should have been like every other parent and said, "You will believe what I believe."
Anyhow, I didn't know a word other than laughing at our
Antics.
She says, "You know what? That is a good topic. I just started watching some videos last night on that subject."
Yeah, we put them all. They're pretty well all up on YouTube now.
Except for one I still have to play around with because it's one that we did 3 different.
It's one where it blacked out twice.
Yeah.
It was a fun.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times what I find, and I could be wrong, but I find a lot of times that people miss their own spirits in their yard, their own energies in their yard, their own home a lot. And probably because they live with it every day. But there's ways to amplify good energy in your home. I don't suggest. I get a lot of people who ask, like, how do I get fairies to come? I don't ever suggest that. Yeah, you have to understand that it's not like on TV.
No,
it's not on TV.
It's not high Hollywood at all.
Angela, just quickly going back to trying to control and tighten the path of children's so they're not so weird.
Not spring fingers, you mean?
Yeah. But, I tried that with my either. He still chose his own path.
But the thing is, the people that come in nowadays, they're different from what we were. I mean, we were browbeat into things. Wow, we've got a lot of conversation going.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, do you want to read Lilo? Lily?
Lily says, hello, how are you? So nice to see you here. I have seen a dream some days ago. I have had a dream some days ago, which still feels alive to me. My partner used to be married, and he has a son from his ex. One day, I dreamt of a home which felt like mine, and in it was my partner, his ex-wife, their son, me, and another unknown child. I hugged their son so tightly in my arms that it felt real. And then his ex-wife with the other kid left the room. Please, I need an insight because I've and read many dream interpretations and I can never find the right explanation. Thank you a lot.
Is that one you want to do in public?
Actually, email me that one. I'll give you a free pass on that. Email me that dream at mistletoe.
Lily, no, Lily's in both groups.
Yeah. No, does she have Elizabeth's email? If not, I will message her and say.
Yeah.
She can just get it off Messenger.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Email me that one. Just because I think that one might get personal.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little personal.
Okay. Gonzalo.
And I, by the way, I didn't roll my eyes at your question, and Marshall just dropped his bone, and it hurt. So,
Lily, Tammy Gonzalo says, "Hi, ladies. Can I ask a question? I am dating a gentleman who is very sweet. I'm wondering how it will work out, and if he is really as interested in me as he says. Also, could you talk about how to tap more into recognizing signs?"
Let me answer the question. You can answer the signs, okay?
Tag team.
Yeah. Actually, this guy, I think, really means what he's saying, at least at this moment. I mean, at this moment, he seems to be everything you've described him to be. And I think at this point, you can go forward with a clear heart, but always watch for signs because, as I say, we live in a free will universe, and that means we can change our mind. But as of now, he genuinely cares for you. I can't say he loves you yet because that's something doesn't happen overnight. It's something you build on. But he does have a bit of stars in his eyes when he looks at you. So he may not be seeing you as who you truly are yet. But I think it's worth pursuing. Good luck on that, Tammy. And it's Goncalo.
Goncalo, okay.
Yeah.
Also, Lily says, yes, thank you a lot. So I guess she'll be on that.
Yeah, okay, and you can answer how to recognize signs.
It depends on what signs you're asking me about. Are you asking me about relationship signs, or are you asking me about actual signs, as in things that we interpret for spiritual meaning? Can you clarify that?
I'll tell you about a sign I had today. Kind of freaked me out, actually. On my phone, I have the time, which is up in the corner, and the time that's on an app, and it stopped at 5:55, and it stayed there for 4 minutes. I thought, but the one in the corner, and that's why I know it was 4 minutes, went from 5:55 to 5:59.
That's somebody hitting you over the head.
Yeah. Then I went and checked out what 5:55 means. I thought, oh crap.
And here's spirit signs.
Spirit
exactly
signs.
What you were talking about.
Okay. Hi, Letitia.
Yeah, and we have another question afterwards. So.
Okay, spirit signs.
Spirit signs.
On that one. There's so many.
There are so many, but what you have to do is you have to start being open in your framework. Like, what is your core belief? And I always ask people that, and I always hope that they don't answer me with what they think they want me to hear. what your core belief is, what your faith runs, where do you go to when you're most troubled, and then for as far as spiritual signs, you will work from that base, because that's how the universe talks to you. That's the open door of your communication. So say like if you are what's a good one? Okay, well say like
you see this number 11 all the time.
yes, so you see number 11 all the time, which if you're really into numerology, you know that that's a higher spiritual number. If you're a Christian, you know that that has a specific biblical meaning. So you're working from your core faith. You're working from the base of your belief system. And then that's how the world will communicate to you. But you also have to be open to seeing spiritual signs, which means you have to give yourself time to be quiet and be willing to listen and to allow the universe to know, hey, I'm open to getting, a little help here, a message now and then. Be careful what you ask for when you do that. I've had some experiences. So, because you will always be answered. Now, whether you choose to listen is up to you. But sometimes the answer is a little disconcerting or can come in a disconcerting way. So say like, I want to know some information about the future, and I basically work through dreams. No, I will get a dream. I will simply ask tonight, can I dream the answer to this? And I will get that dream. Now, how do I know if that's real? Because I start seeing a reflection of that dream in the reality around me. Once I've interpreted it.
And it also feels differently too.
Which puppy, Letitia?
Also, Tammy says, thank you, Elisha. I am smitten with my new gentleman friend and I'm just a little hesitant.
Go slow. I tell everybody 3 months. Be friends for 3 months. After 3 months, that's when you start burping and doing other things in front of them. That's when the real personality comes out. And if it's still the same in 3 months, then you got a winner.
Yeah.
Another thing, don't let past relationships color your vision that you're seeing now.
Exactly.
Don't project onto this person mistakes from other people. Because they did something does not mean that what they're doing is going to lead to what the other person did. Women especially, we all make that mistake. We want to protect ourselves and we start dating and it's like, oh my God, he's just like that guy. It might not be true. Give him a chance.
Self-fulfilling prophecies.
Yeah.
So much. Also, going back real quick to the spirit sightings of 1111, Lakshmi has said that she's seeing a lot of 111, 1101 variations.
So new beginnings, I would say that would be new beginnings, right?
I don't have to refer to some notes here. It's like when we talk about numbers, again, you have your different belief systems. So numbers can take a subtle shift in meaning depending on the person's belief. So we're going to work with general here. I don't know if I can find the general. God help me.
Anyhow.
Evidently today is a good day for catastrophes as far as my notes. Y'all got to understand, when I start referring to my notes, it's a matter of digging through tons of material.
You can't see your room, but it's got books everywhere.
It's so when you when you talk about, let's see, number 11. Here we go. Oh, yeah, I found it. Y'all are in luck. um, when you get a message, say from 1111, it's asking you to become aware of your emotional side, your sensitivity, your instincts about things. And I always tell people that if you start feeling, hey, that initial feeling is the one you should trust, sometimes over your logic and reason. If you're driving a route and you're suddenly like, you know what, I need to take a different way, and then you override that with logic, you know, that's ridiculous, that way's longer, it's, and you don't listen to that first instinct, 9 times out of 10, you're going to find that you probably should have listened to that different route. And that's true about a lot of things. A lot of times, you know, people will say, you know, well, I felt like something was wrong, but I did it anyway. And you hear that all the time. So when you start seeing those numbers 11 a lot, it could be a message that you need to start listening to your instinct about a situation or a thing instead of overriding it with logic. Now, like again, I said, meanings and signs shift subtly. So do dream interpretations with a person's core belief. So that's just a general meaning. You know, you need to also consider, you know, your faith, what you're asking the universe, which god or goddess you're following, what it actually means to them, you know, who's influencing that push for that number in your life. I hope that made sense.
That made sense.
So,
Yeah. Lakshmi actually adds that there are 11 people watching live now.
ah,
Tammy says, true. Back to the don't bring the past with you. Thank you, ladies. You are both wonderful. We have another. Also, Erin says hello.
Hey.
We have another question from Sandra, and I'm not going to try and butcher her name again. She asks, can you tell me if my daughter will find a house and get moved anytime soon? Thank you.
Depends on your definition of soon. Yeah, because my guys have no idea what soon means. Yeah. Will it happen, sort of thing. Yeah, sure, it'll happen, but soon.
Yeah.
I feel that maybe sometime in August there might be a change or a shift. And as I tell everybody that asks me, I'm really lousy with time, but I don't feel it's in the it depends where you live. Actually, it feels like it's a time when it's hot. And August is for me always hot, but if you're in the southern hemisphere, well, you've got till spring our time. What do you get? Do you get anything similar to that?
No, just everything in me went, what does she mean by soon?
Yeah.
You know, because relatively speaking, in this market, soon could be about 11 months.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, and all I know is that it's warm, really quite warm when she finds a place. Yeah. And I go with flowers and things like that because I'm really lousy at time.
That's what a lot of people don't understand is when you spend so much time in where time is like all at once, there's a confusion. When you talk to animals, there's also a confusion. So
I know when I've done a reading that goes over 40 minutes, my daughter literally leads me around because I'm just so I don't know what the word is. I'm just not here. I'm out of time. And I don't mean I'm out of time that I don't have 5 minutes. I mean, I'm literally out of time.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't have that option, do you? That makes it a little harder when you're doing a lot of readings, not to have somebody to come around and look after you.
Yeah. It gets quirky. Yeah. I really have to watch reality and how I handle things. There's been more than a few times in my life where I've had the dream world overlap into my real world, and it can get confusing. So
Yeah, it really does. So if you have an important appointment afterwards, don't go alone.
yeah, I wish I had somebody to go with me.
Sandra quickly interjects in saying, soon to me would be in the next few months. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thinking 11 months, but that's probably because that number's been asked about a lot on here.
Yeah, and it depends where you live. It's going to be warm, really warm.
Go to that question that the lady thought her question was skipped, because it really was about helping the homeless person.
Oh, I
Yeah.
never saw that one.
No, I never did either. Sorry.
Okay. Well, I'm going to answer that for you since I'm the only one who saw it. The answer is yes. You were guided to do a act that was profound in this person's life, but it also has a sense of duality to it. So don't expect it to all be rainbows, because there is a yin yang presence in this, and that's why you saw the two of everything. There's you did a good job. Was required by the universe, and it will have a ripple effect. It had to be done, and I hope that answered your question.
That's a tough question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It came from Angela Marie Patterson. Sorry.
Wait,
I did see your question. I just wasn't. We were still talking about.
I missed it
Sandra's
completely.
Daughter.
Yeah.
Letitia's got a question.
Yeah. She says, tell me something about my financial situation. Now I have many problems because money. Go.
Let me do that one.
And I think
Yeah.
means no, I have many problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, they showed me a hill, so it is an uphill battle, and I won't. And instead, it's an uphill progress. But at the top of the hill, there is a light. So yes, things are going to continue as they are for a while, but you're going to reach a place or a plateau where it will improve for you. While you're doing that, look at your relationship to money and abundance of. In fact, look at your relationship to abundance and ask the universe if they're trying to teach you a lesson. Because it seems to me the universe is tapping you on the shoulder, trying to get your attention to 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 try something new, and you're kind of ignoring it. That would be one of the signs that we were talking about. And what your sign is, I mean, I don't think I can get it, but I'll ask. When you get to the place where you're just so frustrated, you take deep breaths, look around, see what else comes into your mind, because that's where the answer is going to lie. When you take time, not when you're struggling, but when you just say, I've had it, I can't deal with another second, and you take time for yourself, that's when the answer will come in. I would love to say this is an easy time for you. I don't see it ending in a hurry, but I do see you staying above. I don't see you going under. I see you staying above. So it's not fun, but and there is an ending to it. But good luck to that. All right.
Lily asks, going back to the topic of dreams, she goes, "Oh, the dreams are very mysterious. I dream a lot, and there is always one message I get there just with time. Oh, I get it's just with time that it becomes clear. I spent almost the first hour I spend almost the first hour of work every day reading about the dreams the night before on the internet."
Who's going to bed?
Oh, Lakshmi, it's 4 in the morning in India right now.
Oh, good night, Lakshmi.
Oh no, it's time to get up.
If you're you,
hello.
Korea.
Who's Korea lady? Acknowledge.
Did we have any more questions?
Not as of this moment. Let's UCS says thank you.
I wish it was better. But if we've got no questions, well, let's continue with where. Do you remember where you were with the wee people or the signs? Either or.
Yeah. We can talk about either one. My first advice to anybody is be careful what energy you allow into your personal life. As far as, you get people who they go out and they look for this stuff and it looks like it's an adventure and it looks like it's fun and it looks like it's all that. And you get that a lot on TV. You have to ask yourself, do you really want to invite that into your life? It takes skill and knowledge with a lot of this stuff. And by accident, you can cause yourself some serious issues. You have to realize you're dealing with things that do not think in human terms. And I say this almost in every video. I swear I do. They do not think in human terms. They are not human. So attaching human sentiment and human understanding to them is always a mistake. So people think fairies are cute, but there are many, many cautionary tales out there about dealing with them. You're talking about God, I don't know if I should talk about that on here. Well, let's deal with Rumpelstiltskin. Everybody's familiar with that story, I hope. Rumpelstiltskin. He wanted the queen's baby, and you deal with this a lot in fairy lore, that they have a fascination with human children. A lot of times, probably because there's very few children in that realm. So if they can acquire one, they will. So he makes a deal, and she becomes queen. And of course, her child is born, and she doesn't want to give it up, because who would? And he tells her, probably just because he figured it would never happen, if she can guess his name, and say his name, then the deal would be broken. And, fate intervenes, and, his name is after 3 days, his name is figured out, and she tells him Rumpelstiltskin, and he doesn't get the child. Blah 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 blah. But let's go to that part about the names. Names are powerful in certain realms. So if you have a name, then you have the calling of something. All right. You have just think about when you're walking in a crowd. You're walking out in a crowd, and somebody says, "Oh, hey, your name." Do you turn around, even if it's not you? 9 times out of 10, you do. So there's a certain power in holding something's name. Names become very important. You see it a lot in movies. You'll see, I compel you to tell me your name, blah, blah, blah. There's a reason. If you don't know what you're dealing with, you have no control over it. So why are you inviting it into your life? That you need to think about that. And so when you're dealing with, say, like the first power man was given was to name. It was the first power we got was to name everything. Adam was given the power to go into Eden and say, that's a tree, that's a shrub, that's a lion. That was the first power humanity was given, was to name. We have the power over names. It was almost the first symbology. Like, you hear my name, and in your head, you picture me. I'm referenced to that word. So it is a spiritual power that I think a lot of us don't realize. The power of name. How did I get on this topic? I can't remember.
Because
anyway.
But I agree with you. I find, but here in the physical, if the earth it's not quite as strong. But when I work in the energies, I ask for a name, and that person is there. And like my sister's name is Elizabeth.
Yeah.
But she went by Betty. So I say Betty, and she's there.
Right.
My sister's no longer on Earth.
There's like a lot of people want to give me a lot of information when I do a reading. When I first do a reading, they're like, what do you need? I'll give you, my name, date of birth, everything. Unless I'm running numbers, I don't need that.
Yeah, me too.
It's a good way to.
I'm Scorpio. Okay.
Yeah. All I need is your first name. That's all I need.
Yeah.
And that gives me the path to you. If you give me your name, then I have the path to you. If you give your name to some of these entities, they also have the path to you.
And that's not faith, though. That's
everything.
That's the demon, and people don't want to hear this, but we do have demons.
Yeah, and
we do have negative entities out there. Some of them are not demons, but they're not necessarily good,
Friendly.
or they're just neutral. But
Can I put this part on pause because we have a couple of other questions that came in.
Okay, I already have an answer for Angela.
Okay.
Unless Elizabeth wants to answer.
Let me read out the question in case she hasn't seen it. Angela asks, I do have a question, if it's okay. I have an interview for a second job that I desperately need to help pay my bills that I'm buried under. Will I get the job? Go.
Do you want to answer that one? I've already got an answer, but you're welcome to it.
I see a good probability line for it.
Same answer. Mine went 75% chance.
Yeah, I see a good probability line for it. When we talk about probabilities of the future, everything can change. With a flap of a butterfly's wings. That's the famous one out there. But right now, I see a really good probability for it.
Yeah, me too. 75%. That's pretty high.
That's pretty high.
She says thank you. Then she adds, that was very helpful. I never really thought about how powerful a name is. There's a reason
You're
it's
welcome.
being used as a trope in fantasy stories or in TV shows.
You think
Yeah.
maybe I should trade places with her?
I blame you for my knowledge of this stuff.
Or
Too,
what's the word? How do you say talk a lot?
I mean,
What's the next question, sweetie?
just real quick, she adds, "LOL, thank you. Yes, I understand." The next question is from somebody named Annie. She asks, is it a good idea if I go back? Sorry, have to phrase this better. Can you tell me if it is a good idea? If it is going to be a good idea to take my ex-husband back to court for support in case or increase? Sorry, I can read. Holding him financially responsible for his kids. He is screwing me over again.
Yay, she made it through that one.
Barely.
So you're talking about going back to court for child support.
He's got a really bad temper.
And my question is, how bad do you need it? How bad do you need him in your life? How bad do you need that connection? If you're financially in jeopardy, and then that's an avenue for you to take. But understand that sometimes you're better off. I don't know how to put this.
Better off not having having money because
Yeah,
then
not
you
having
lose
to deal with him.
responsibility with the
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah, not having to deal with him. If he's abusive towards you and your children, and there's a way to completely break that connection, then that should always be your option. And vice versa. For in case there's any men that watch this, women can be abusive. All right. Having a legal connection with somebody is still having a connection. My feeling about this is, how stressed do you want to be, honey? You're pretty stressed right now. It is a pathway for you because they can enforce the support legally. But it is going to add into your life that's always already stressful a significant amount of stress. So really consider, this is completely your choice. I know that's not what you were looking for. A lot of times, you know, when I ask somebody, I just want them to tell me what to do. But in this case,
he is really, really.
Yeah, and
when I get into him, he's really, there's a lot of anger in there, and you don't know how that's going to.
Sorry, just real quick. She adds, we have 4 kids, and he's been slacking. He pays for 50 custody, and I have them 90% of the time. I'll never get rid of him. Oh yes, I'm very stressed. LOL.
Yeah,
yeah, you'll never get rid of him. Not until the last one turns 20-something. And
I don't know about that. I still have my ex in my life. My youngest is 30.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, yeah, you know, that's what people think about when they get married. They really need to think about this. I really advocate for 2-year marriages. I really do. 2 or 3 year contracts as far as marriage. And so far, nobody's taken me up on that, you know, taken up that fight with me. But
Yeah, I 100% agree. 2 to 5 years
yeah,
max.
yeah, it's just, yeah, you are connected to him, and uh, I'm sorry, but you're gonna have to make that choice. It's gonna be a hard one, and then my basis is how much stress do you own? Because if I tell you yes, go for it, or I tell you no, don't go for it, I'm taking away your empowerment. But
Mhm.
my advice is measure your level of stress. And hey, maybe not now, maybe in 2 or 3 months when you are less stressed. You hear what I'm saying? Measure that level of stress. Um, so I do see that stress being exorcised in negative ways if you keep adding to it. I hope that helped a little bit.
My fear for though is that his level of anger is
Yeah.
at this point is really high. So like
Yeah.
again, in 2 months, 3 months, it might be totally different answer.
Yeah. It's so hard, man. People don't like to let go. I hate being, I romance is so tricky for me. I don't know, man.
It's hard to tell the heart what it wants and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's like seeing your old dog, and you know it's an old dog ready to pass away, and going, "Can I make this call or can't I?" It's hard to because you get the human emotion and you get the physical emotion and you get all these emotions, and it's hard.
It's
Anyhow,
hard.
yeah.
It's hard.
Our next question from Psych Gabriella. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce that first word, your first name. I'm just, I won't cry. They ask, or she asks, hello, what can you say about the connection between me and the man I'm in love with? Speaking of love, what should I do, or is there something I should know? Thank you.
First off, just to like bust in a little advertisement here on Wisdom Seekers, we have something called a compatibility reading. If you ever want one, so it's really good at giving you an idea of what the other person means in your life, much more detailed than what we're fixing to answer.
Yeah.
Um,
Basically, yes, no, maybe so.
yeah. Can I have his name? Speaking of names,
Really make a difference. Anyhow, I have to say, Aaron wrote no marriage.
Hashtag no marriage. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Be common law. No, don't even do that.
It depends. Are kids going to be involved any point in the relationship?
No,
Because
they can still live somewhere else even with their kids involved.
definitely the kids can live somewhere else.
you still have that.
Anyhow, let's
connection.
finish the question.
Lily,
No, we didn't finish the question.
I know she hasn't
Given the name.
added anything, so I'm moving forward until she comes back and adds more. Lily adds, I also stand for 2 to 3 years to know and at least 1 year co-living before getting married. Relationships
Amen.
nowadays are very difficult to keep.
Actually,
Amen.
you never want to live with somebody that you plan on marrying.
Marriage is an interesting spiritual concept. I think people don't realize the significance of the spiritual side of marriage. That's why there's so much damage when marriages break apart, because there is a spiritual connection. You have tethered yourself to someone. And when that shatters, it's so painful to the soul. Whether that relationship was a good relationship, whether it's a bad relationship, the breaking of that tethering is so painful to the soul. So, we talk about that. Try to, try to teach your children that. Try to get them to understand that it's not just a legal commitment. I mean, it's painfully to break up legally because like half of everything is gone. But there's a soul connection. And if you've tethered yourself to somebody who's unhealthy, they may never break that connection with you. You may break it with them, but they may never let go, because it's so painful to the soul and there's an addiction there, and then you get stalking and all kinds of crazy crap. But you want to be careful who you bind yourself with. It's not as easy. Everybody's just like, oh, I can't believe she's with him and he's like so bad. Why doesn't she just leave him? It's not easy. It's just not that easy. I mean, it takes so much. And so when you're seeking a relationship, my suggestion is find a person that's there at 3 a.m. when you have a freaking flat tire.
The friend.
Yeah. I mean, let that override your DNA desire to breed. Because Mr. McHot, it may not be there for you at 3 a.m. Just saying. Look for that. Look for. I don't know. That's my best advice to people. Don't go for looks. Go for action. They can always going back to the Bible says you can tell a tree by its fruit. Because an apple tree is going to have apples. An orange tree is going to have oranges. A poison tree is going to have poison fruit. Look at their actions. Are they kind to the elderly? Are they kind to animals? Are they strong with people who are weak? Or, do they stand up for things that you believe are right? These are all tales. An abusive person will abuse an animal or a child. They're going to let something slip. And you're going to notice. Don't excuse it. That's a warning sign.
Yeah.
How do they treat their mother? Okay. For a man, how does he treat his mother? Because that was his relationship base for how he's going to treat you. For a woman, how does she treat her father? That's going to be a relationship base for you. It's just the way it is. That doesn't mean they have to have, a doting relationship with their parents. We don't want to go too far over. That can get crazy too. That's obsessive. Look for somebody that's well balanced. If mom calls and says, oh my God, the lawnmower broke, and he goes and he mows their grass, that's a sign.
That's a keeper.
That's a keeper. If dad says, your mom is sick and I need something from the store, and she goes and she gets it, that's a sign. That's a keeper. I hope that made sense. I don't know if that made sense.
One thing, though, Lil said about living with somebody before you get married. There's a lot of evidence out there, psychological evidence that it's not a good idea to live with somebody before you get married. Before you get married, they treat you differently than when you get married, because when you get married, suddenly they revert to their childhood. And I'll give you an example from my life. I lived with my ex for a year before we married. when we got married, suddenly I had to pick up his dirty laundry, and I had never had to do that before. It's a small thing, but his mom picked up his father's dirty laundry. So all of a sudden, I had to pick, I was supposed, that was just what a married woman does. In my case, my father was very bossy, I think is a polite way of saying it. And my mother was quite submissive, and I became very submissive. So
Yeah.
you don't so you don't want to live with someone before marriage, because that is an erroneous viewpoint of how the relationship will go.
Yeah. One of the things that killed one of my son's relationships was I heard him on the phone tell the young lady, I could never marry a woman who can't wash clothes like my mom. And my head whipped around. I was like, don't say that. And sure enough, a week later, they were broken up. It's like, no, don't say that. And by the way, when you get married, you're moving to Alaska because I will be a horrible mother-in-law. Get your ass out of the state.
Ellen and I talked about that, and I said, yeah, nobody wants to marry Simon because you'd be horrible.
I would be horrible, and I know it. And it's like I said, he needs to move to a foreign country, save his marriage. Like, seriously. And any single women out there, he's a really good guy, by the way. I'm horrible.
You'd awesome. Have to have like 5 kids to appease Elizabeth.
Yes, it would have to be something. And as bad as
we're teasing,
I'm sure if he heard this, he would be blushing like crazy and going, "Mom, shut the hell up."
Oh, he would. Oh, he would.
We're going to listen to this, right? So we're okay.
I would be dead. There's this video would be ended. There would be a big message, due to physical injury, we had to stop filming. Yeah.
Mary says, laugh my effing ass off. Perfect on mine, Elizabeth.
So Bronwyn said something. I'm not quite sure what what it's about, but it might be. It's do you want me to read it because I got it?
You might have to, because like Angela's comment, it's the same comment she made earlier that we both missed.
Okay.
And she commented that we missed, but it didn't show up until just now.
Okay, so Bronwyn wrote, and I don't know what the precursor was, Kaiora from New Zealand. This is a Maori language greeting. Spelling is bad. I don't think the Maori care because they probably don't have written language anyhow. But that's really pretty.
Yeah.
Kaiora. So Bronwyn's going to be up in the hot seat next week, so we'll find out.
Yeah. Daryl Miller's going back to and Lily too. But first, I'll read his because anyhow. He says, I somewhat disagree on not living together because I don't believe you get a valid view of the other person in just going out into social situations alone. Because acts will be put on and it will be easier to hide those personalities.
Oh, you mean you want to know if they're going to spit on your head when you're spitting in the sink while you're both brushing your teeth, huh? Before you marry them. Like, I can understand that. Yeah, I really can.
He probably wants to know if the other person can cook or not.
But I mean,
there's a lot of things that come up. I think with living together, I think there needs to be an understanding that, like in our society, we kind of changed.
I agree with living together. I just don't agree with marrying the person after you've lived together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, why go that far? You're already together. But it's marriage.
Don't ever get married.
Yeah. It's a marriage that's at the issue of the debate here, Daryl. No, but living together, it has some positive effects and it has some negative effects. We talk about the honeymoon period after marriage, where the bride and the groom are still getting to know each other. And you've kind of, when you live together before you marry, you kind of circumvent that. You've already been through the honeymoon period. So by the time you get married, you're already an old married couple. And that takes away a lot of the, and it's a choice. It's a choice. I'm not telling you not to choose this. It takes away a lot of that honeymoon, happy, new married glow. Not for everybody, but for a lot of people. Deciding to marry is a big commitment. How you reach that decision, completely up to you. My advice, I'm still advocating the 3-year contract marriages.
Me too.
Still do to this day. You know, don't commit everything. You know, commit 3 years, and then at the end of the 3 years, you're still happy. Recommit for another 3 years. You'll save yourself a lot of trouble. But I don't think they'll let us do that. I mean, for some reason, everybody's got it in their head. You know, one person for lifetime.
There's only 2,000 years they've done that. Before that, it was that way.
Yeah.
Just interjecting, Lily adds, many couples are now co-living together because marriage sometimes it becomes a situation take your partner for granted. The best relationship is partnership, but in fact, we always reflect in our relationships the models we got from our parents, going back to personal experience, because that is the only model we saw and we perceive it to be right. She adds, also adding to Daryl, saying, in fact, in co-living, you can't hide negative traits for too long. Sometimes in marriage, the person you married is completely a surprise of what you saw before. It doesn't take care of you as they used to.
Well, and not only that, when you change your name, like for instance, my ex's name is the same as my daughter's, Desiro. When you change, and my name is Keating. If you change my name to Desiro, then the numerology is all totally different, and it takes a good 12 years to catch up to the name change, unless you don't change your name. But
A lot of things about treating people before and after a commitment have to do with the courting of the person. When we court, you know, we are not showing truth, we are showing feathers. Look at me, I'm beautiful. So the courting process is different, and I think a lot of younger people especially don't realize that the courting of someone and that marriage was actually meant, you know, a lot of people look for love in marriage, but marriage was never actually meant to find love. Marriage was a way to join financial power, a way to up status. It was always a business arrangement. Period.
And bring kids into the
yeah, and bring in hair, and that's what it was always all about. So we make this lifelong commitment based on a romanticized idea of love, not realizing that you are making a financial commitment that is lifelong. Does love exist? Yes. Can you marry the person you love? Yes, absolutely. You just have to be careful. Whether you live with
re up your love all the time.
Right. And yeah, that's another thing. We go through that biological, oh, I just fell out of love with them. Okay. Sorry, it doesn't happen that way. You made a series of choices, and what you're seeing is the grass is greener somewhere else, and you're ready to break this commitment. You need to be careful of that. Because again, marriage is spiritual connection as well. Doesn't matter what you do, it's going to hurt. Falling out of love with somebody just means you weren't engaged in love with them. You have to be engaged with love. When we first meet, we are very engaged with love. We are engaged with making the person see the best of us. We're engaged with seeing the best of them. Oh my God, I have to call and talk to him every night or I will die right now. I've been there. Uh, you know, that's engaging in love. The person has problems. We still love them. We love them through those problems. Because we're engaged in love. We have a spiritual vested interest. When you fall out of love, it's not that you fell out of love. It's you broke that engagement with love. You are no longer engaged with it. You're no longer active in it. That's the reason people fall out of love. I know that we would like to say it's not our fault when we fall out of love with somebody, but it is 100% our fault when we fall out of love with somebody. We are no longer engaged with the love of them. I'm probably going to get a lot of bad emails about that, but it's the truth, people. You fall out of love. You don't fall out of love. You break the engagement. It's your fault. So
I think it still goes 50-50 actually, because there would be a reason why they start to fall out of love or fall out of engagement.
Yeah, no.
Because
a lot of times you will see the one person that fell out of love, the other person is still engaged, and they're still fighting.
No, but what I'm saying is, for instance, I only can go back to my own self.
Yeah.
In my marriage, my ex was always trying to fix me.
Yeah.
I did talk to him and say, I'm not broken, but he literally could not hear me. And the more he tried to fix me, the less engaged I got.
Yeah, because that's not a two-way energy exchange. Mm-hmm. That's a one-way energy exchange. You do everything I say and I'll be happy. Yeah. And I really don't care if you're happy. That's not a relationship. That's kind of abusive. We want to avoid that.
Definitely. Right. And yes, there were a lot of flags I ignored.
Yeah. No, there's definitely a reason to break engagement with love, as far as abuse and stuff like that. But when the person just states that is the reason they're leaving this person, and there's, and I hear it more often than not, well, I fell out of love with him. I was like, or I fell out of love with her. And I'm like, that's your choice. Yeah. So that, if you can re-engage in love.
There was no way in hay that was going to happen with me.
Yeah.
Too much water under that bridge.
Yeah. And there's people that you shouldn't re-engage in love because, like, again, the abuse factor or the fact that maybe it's just not right.
Yeah. And that was simply because he's married to a woman. They get really well. They're very happy. Well, I really like her. I really like her.
Yeah, but they're also going back. They're childhood friends.
But they're also from the same culture too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were.
What's the comments right now? There's a big one.
Let's catch up. Lily says many couples divorce after 3 years of marriage in my country. Erin says marriage made me feel stuck. It was awful. I also had 3 kids under 9 at the time. LOL. Bronwyn says not sure over there, but after living together for 2 years here in New Zealand, it's half each, even without being married. Lily adds, I so much agree
6 months here.
The courting. Not all people show their true colors. They see marriage as a destination, not as a journey. And then the negativity shows up and many things can happen. It's just that nowadays unconditional love doesn't exist. I don't care about papers or marriage or to bring the name to my relationship except the connection I take care of. Daryl says, I must admit I have seen quite a lot of people playing the peacock card of look at me, I'm stunning. And that's true.
Thank you so much.
Honestly, never bothered. Either interested in me or don't. I don't like on an act, which I think with falling out of love, why people get sick of me, because it's interesting at first, but then I don't change and gets annoyed.
And then he has another comment. You should add that
I'm
one.
not abusive for reference either, just not particular, but politically.
Poetically.
Oh, but he's Australian and he's my friend. He does.
Hi, Daryl.
Oh, Daryl, we're gonna find you the perfect mate.
Oh God,
we're gonna find you the unicorn.
We have a lot of women on this site.
That's right. It's open season on Daryl. He's made a mistake. All right.
Well, I made the mistake of sending this video to him.
So anyhow, let's read Lil's last comment.
Going there. Lily says trying to change your partner is awful, but we all have differences which it's good to discuss what bothers us, what annoys us, and it takes two people to collaborate. Sometimes the other person isn't just willing to collaborate, and it's true. Communication is key. I was just watching a YouTube video about long-term relationships, and even in her 4 years married with a 2-year-old toddler, who says that they're still making time to figure out who they are constantly.
Very, very scared.
Yes, Daryl, be very, very scared. Run away! Save yourself!
Oh, look, man. I didn't even offer to try and match my son with a girl. I never forget. I was sitting there thinking, what happens when I die and he needs someone? And I was so I asked him, I said, we were driving in the car and we pulled up to his friend's house. And as he's getting out, I say, by the way, what would you like in a woman? And so he tells me what his idea of a perfect girlfriend is. And I'm thinking, yeah, I can do that. And as he's getting out of the car, he shuts the door and he gets halfway to his friend's house. He turns around and he comes and he opens the door and he says, do not make that happen, and slams the door. And I was like, shit.
He knows you too well.
Yes. So, yes, Daryl, we're going to help you out.
Anyhow, I have to warn you, Bronwyn lives not far away from you in New Zealand. So good luck.
There you go.
And here in Canada, it's 6 months and you're legally cohabitating.
Yeah.
I don't know about the States.
Oh, shoot. In Alabama, you just have to sleep in the same hotel room. And you're married.
God.
I am not kidding. It's a legal marriage.
Ooh. They are very interesting, newsworthy lately that it's really hard to swallow at times.
We have more comments. Just bypassing all that shit right now. Lily says, I have a friend who thinks she has marriage problems. Meanwhile, her husband says no, we are fine. You are just obsessed. Communication is key to a good quality life.
What he calls her obsessed, then yes, they have communication problems.
Yeah.
A lot of times in relationships, what is happening is the life stresses, and one person grows and one person doesn't. You get this point where it's not just a breakdown of communication. It is one person is actually satisfied with where they're at, and the other person is not. They're trying to expand. Actually,
Angela had a question that will go right along with what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And Lily replied to it, so I'll add that in quickly afterwards. Angela says, is there a way to permanently break a connection? I've been trying to do this for 4 years, period. Or is it pretty much not our choice, but the spirits?
I've broken connections before. It's very
Yeah.
painful. Make sure you want it. You can. Now, in real life, that person may not get the message and they may still be in your life, but it's definitely doable to break a spiritual connection permanently for somebody. It's just very painful. We do it at death, and it will be the same. So consider that before you ask.
But there, I mean, you can try cord cutting and things like that. But
Yeah, I mean,
they grow right back.
yeah, they got to be so powerfully committed. The last time I did it, you have to be so powerfully committed to that. Sometimes it's a good idea, though. Sometimes it's a very good idea.
It takes a lot of energy. It's just not. People
yeah.
don't realize that with you work in the energy that they think it's simple, but it affects people in the physical. It's not just not
the last
casual. One example is people who work in the energies need a lot more magnesium and potassium because it actually depletes those minerals.
Iron too.
Iron too.
And the last time I did something like that, I slept for like 3 days.
Usually I do a reading. I have a nap for at least half hour if I want to function.
Lily,
but it is possible.
Lily also adds to Angela, you love and appreciate yourself more, and your energy shifts and meets the energy of another person who also loves himself and his woman. She adds, it's better to break a connection and then suffer for a while than break your heart every day with the miscommunication. In my country, we say better a bitter end than a bitter continuous pain.
That's actually a good one.
I remember that one.
And when cords grow right back and you can't break the connection, could that mean it could be a karmic relationship or something finishing up from a past life?
Oh, there's so many answers to that. It could be so many things. Yeah. Okay, first off, you have to be willing to completely let go of that person. Becomes more complicated if you have a child with them. Because if you have a child with them, there's always going to be a framework of connection there. So what happens? I've seen several different things. I've seen very obsessive people who are able to reform the connection even after it's broken. So there has to be a sort of a magical break, a magical stop there, spiritually. Then the person that you're working with has to be really strong to keep that. I mean, it's almost like a battle every day for a while. It's very freeing if you can get through it. So when you talk about karmic debt to a person, then you're dealing with a curse. All right, that's the type of curse. You've been cursed with this person. All right, something happened, and it's almost like a ghost stuck in the same loop. Something happened, and you're just repeating that again. Okay, much easier to deal with, by the way, than if because it's old and you didn't agree with it in this life. You can make a disagreement with a karmic debt. So, but then there's also, again, a powerfully willed person can keep trying to reconnect to you psychically. But It's the same way that, I know where my dogs are right now because I'm connected to them. It's, oh God, I wish I could explain this better.
I think you're explaining it fairly decently. Where Angela has been adding, she's been trying the cord cutting. It doesn't help for very long. I was with my ex from age 15 to 21. He is the father of my son. I'm tired of feeling him, loving him when things will never change. I just want to heal, let go. I've asked Alicia about him a few times. I don't think healing is possible. And then she, with, sorry, Lily replied, a child doesn't make the situation better. After you see the true colors for such a long time, there is no need to repay him. Sorry, language barriers and spelling.
When you have a marriage that breaks with a child, the problem is the father still has a connection to that child, both legally and spiritually. And because you also have a connection to that child, legally and spiritually.
Yeah.
You're not free of him. It's just the way it is. It doesn't matter how much you don't like him. It's very hard. The only way, which I managed, is to get the father to break that connection to that child, both legally and spiritually, and to deny that child. That's the only way you're going to be completely free of them.
Yeah.
I just hate to break it, dude. The father has every right to see their child spiritually and legally. That's just the way it is. And it makes things so much more complicated. Much more complicated.
Angela adds that how it feels like a daily battle, not anything to do with our child. It really does feel like a curse.
Yeah.
So
you might when the child gets older.
No, but the father doesn't want to do anything with the child.
I know, but what I'm saying is the child gets older, he might change his mind.
That at some point that is up to the child if they want to have a father or a parent in their life.
Yeah, it becomes choice for the children, but you got to understand as well that she's saying that he doesn't want to have anything to do with that child.
Yeah.
And you can't make somebody have a relationship. It doesn't matter how hard you're wasting your time. Yeah. The best thing is to break it completely. So you don't want to be around him? It's fine by me. Bye, bitch.
Well, yeah, and it's easier to bring a kid up on your own.
Yeah, vice versa. I have seen moms that absolutely break their connection with their children. They abandon their children, and the father is left trying to force the mother to have a relationship. No, don't break it. Let it go. That's my advice. You don't have to take it. I mean, sometimes I'm wrong. Like once a millennia, maybe.
Well, probably the parents of the father or the mother not wanting the child, it leaves a scar on the child.
It does, but it's a scar. I'm sorry, it's a scar. It's not an open bleeding wound oozing with pus and poison for the rest of their life. It's just a scar. You can deal with a scar. Makeup.
Yeah, you can. If you're, I've seen some kids pretty messed up because of it.
Yeah, but I mean, what's harder? One rejection,
or many rejections?
Many rejections.
Yeah.
It's like being lashed over and over again. Yeah. I'm not saying there's not going to be problems, people. There's always problems in life, but you have to ask yourself, what's doing the most harm? Trying to force a relationship or breaking that relationship, allowing that relationship to break. There's spiritual consequences for either way.
Yeah. I watched some kids try to force a relationship with the father and the rejection over and over again. And
I've seen it with a mother, and it was brutal. was brutal.
I think that would be even worse from the father because the mother is the primary caregiver for the first 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna continue reading the comments.
So we're at an hour and 25 minutes.
Yeah. Aaron says, "Oh hell yes, that makes so much sense." With my ex-boyfriend, he was a curse. Thank God, no children with him. Angela.
Thank God.
Oh dear. Lily replies to Angela, "Let go first. Decide with your heart and soul. Suffer for a while, and in suffering you will always heal." Bronwyn adds, "So what about soulmates? As I understand it, they are both here to give each other a lesson in this life."
That's a huge.
That's a huge topic.
That's a question. That's another one all in itself. Soulmates.
Yeah.
Yeah, that topic always gets me bad emails. So I'm just gonna throw it out there.
For another time.
Yeah. I always get bad emails when I deal with that topic.
Daryl says, "One thing I've noticed, and it's just my observation, we men tend to break connections a lot easier than we probably rightfully should. Not always, just the people I've known just go, oh well, and move on quite easily. Not sure if it's because we're raging assholes or not.
No, I think it's because you think totally different from women. And
Mars.
yeah.
So what I love about men, and I love men, Daryl. What I love about men is they have such strong abilities in the magic of shielding and boundaries that women lack. So it is much easier for them to walk away from something because they're not bombarded by the emotional guilt of, oh my God, did I hurt him? They know and understand, hey, this is not a good relationship. I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want that crazy bitch to call me again. I don't want her to text me. I'm not dealing with her. We're done. Much more healthy, in my opinion. Way to be. We're not talking about the men that love them and leave them. That's wrong. We're talking about men who make healthy decisions based on another person's bad behavior. They do not stay in abusive relationships as long as women do. And that is a good thing. It's a healthy thing.
Women are also designed to be caregivers.
Yes, we're trained to be caregivers. Another thing about men is they actually love differently than women do, and we don't realize that. Men love, when a man loves, his idea of loving is he is taking care of the problem for you. They are action. We talk about. We want to talk about the problem. We want to talk about it we've been talking for an hour and a half now. We talk a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Men don't want to talk a lot. They want to know what the problem is and they want to fix it. And then once it's fixed, they considered it fixed. We don't. We're still fixing it 8 hours, 20 days later. So, that's,
sorry.
Yeah. So that forms a misunderstanding in the relationship. A lot of times she's like, he doesn't love me. And he's like, how can you even think that? I do love you. But then he gets worn down. And men don't handle emotional wearing the way that women do. And they will often disengage in love at that point because it just becomes too tiring for them. This is a big deal in a lot of relationships. Women have a hard time dropping the issue. I don't drop an issue. And we can emotionally wear down our partner, whether they're male or female. I've seen two females wear each other down. So that's, you know, that's the way it is. That's yin and yang. That's the duality of creation, the constant struggle of spiritual duality at its most perfect conflict. In my opinion, it's the most beautiful thing you can see.
Well, there's a difference between men and women. A man says, I love you once. It's good.
It should be. Yeah.
They hear it every day.
Would it be part of like, there's a book about 5 different languages of love: touch, communication, affirmation, those. Would that come into play?
Yeah, it does. It does.
And if you don't understand the other person's language,
we should be a mystery to each other that lasts a lifetime. Mm-hmm. When you talk about love, it should be a mystery of each other that lasts a lifetime. You should always have these struggles. That's what makes it dynamic. If you're not struggling, if you don't love the person enough to argue with them, you don't love them because you're not engaged with them. That's the
Indian, spiritual Indian from India.
Yeah, and if you don't,
there's no argument, there's no love.
That's it. I mean, if I don't care, and honestly, I have people that give testimonial to this. If I don't care enough about you, I will not argue with you. I'll be like, whatever, go ahead. Go die somewhere. I could give a flip less.
Daryl adds, I can usually cut connections. We as men look at problems like an engine, fix the parts, resume cruising. Wow, I can read.
It's only an hour and a half.
It makes sense. Angela says this has been a very enlightening video. Thank you both.
It has been, but they always are.
Yes, and they're always long.
Yes, they're always long.
Lily are practical human beings. They love good food, washed clothes, warm wife.
I like that one.
Situation. Leave them alone a part of the time, enjoying their space, and that's enough. Women have 1,000 opinions about the same topic.
It's true.
It's true. No, it's true. We have thousands of topic ideas. I mean, like the leaving alone, because I live my space as much as anybody else.
Yeah, but you're atypical, darling.
That's true. So never mind.
Oh no, man! I have so many opinions. I can agree with a person and disagree with them in the same sentence because I'm that opinionated.
I'm a Libra. If you say one thing, I'll say the other opposite.
Yeah,
because I can see both sides.
Yeah, I mean, and if you ever want to start me talking, ask me my opinion. I get so many times people ask me my opinion, and they're like, "How could you say that?" I was like, "Well, you asked." Don't ask it if you don't want it.
That has become my.
Wait a minute.
That has become my go-to comment. Don't ask questions you don't want the answer to.
That's right. Yeah, because a woman will tell you the answer. She will tell you all the answers.
You actually, she just thought up.
Yes. And then if she can't figure, she'll go find some. Give her, and 3 days later, she'll come back to you with those too.
So, this real quick and go. It's been an hour and 35 minutes. Do we want? Or do we want to go? We're beat. We're hungry. We gotta go.
I got people knocking on the door. I got my son is probably asking the same question. What are we doing about dinner?
Yeah.
The answer is not cooking.
Mind you, this has been actually really fun. We have to do it again.
Yes, absolutely. Thank y'all for all your interesting questions. If y'all have a topic you want us to discuss, please let us know.
Yeah,
please. comments down below.
No, don't leave it in the comments. Email us or message us.
Email us. Or
And don't forget about the compatibility reading. We have a wonderful compatibility reading for sale on Wisdom Seeker. See, I'm plugging. Plug it.
Yeah, well, Elizabeth is really good. I always plug her spirit animal readings because I love them. But yeah, I know people who get her yearlies that they every month they go back to her and say, well, you said A, B, C, and D. And she goes, I don't remember.
But also, real quick, because this will be going up on YouTube too.
Yes.
So leave comments in the section down below on YouTube or Facebook, whichever you're watching this on, and let us know what topics you would like us to.
I would honestly prefer that you come and talk to me or Elizabeth and leave questions there, honestly.
So join Facebook if you don't have Facebook.
Me, I'm the one. And I'll put it in the newsletter.
And join our newsletter, wisdomseekers.net.
Yeah, which is coming out late this week because
Canada Day.
Well, that's a good excuse, but because I just haven't got it done.
Happy Canada Day and happy 4th of July.
Yes. Yes.
So you have a new follower, Mom.
Oh,
Daryl
cool.
says I'll definitely be back around.
Oh, yeah, we're fun. Elizabeth is fabulous. And we have, I think on the 6th, which is a Saturday, we have Erin. She's going to do Connect with Erin, which is, she's a medium.
And it will be a live video chat, right?
It will be a live video. On Wednesday evening, Nikki's going to start doing her mediumship. No, pardon me, meditation. As I said, an hour and a half, right? Meditation in the evening around 8 Eastern time. Bronwyn's coming up, and she agreed that yes, it was a huge subject, so we'll do that another time, and we'll just block Elizabeth's email for a couple of weeks.
We'll have to.
Yeah.
Well, last time I got road for that. All right.
Nobody ever messages me and tells me anything. I guess they're scared of. I guess my name is not Aunt Beth.
But you're also, you choose your words carefully, Mom.
She does too.
Yeah,
she's just very careful with her words.
But she's also
not the same careful as I am.
Elizabeth is also very much what you see is what you get. If you don't like it, there's the door.
Well, yeah, so am I. I'm just very careful with my words when I'm saying it.
How do I put this politely?
And also, I suspect they know that I'm right.
Unless you're tired of the same question, you're very polite.
Yeah, and then after 2 hours, I get a little tired. I honestly do.
And it's a very STFU. Get out.
Okay. Anyhow, shush. Let me try and remember what else is on. I can't think of anything. I have no idea who's doing next weekend's interactive. It might just be me. So if it comes up, guess, then that's your cue to be psychic. All right. And with that, I'm going to say thank you so much, Elizabeth. And we didn't black out today. Yay!
I didn't jump up and pee either, so that was good.
Yeah, but you have hands on, right?
Yes, this time
I would like to say before we leave that Elizabeth's T-shirt says, "The only thing I love is my dogs."
It does say that.
And her dog has been amazing. I'm sure that was disappointing for a lot of people.
Well,
I'm sure it was, but I wore him out before we did this. So next time I'll let him be a little more active.
Yeah, no.
If you did hear some grumbling, our 1-year-old Lily was in the background.
Yeah. Okay. I think we've got it.
Yep.
And
all right, I'm gonna say bye, guys. I'm gonna go feed my kids.
Oh,
I love you all.
Hazel Gabara wants to know if there's a message
I
for.
already told her that we're signing off.
Okay.
So we're signing off.
So go Tuesday evening on YouTube.
Yep.
Okay. Namaste, namasko, and I think it's Wisdom Seekers Shift.
WisdomSeekersShifts.com.
Yeah, WisdomSeekersShift.com on YouTube Tuesday night. Okay.
Just join YouTube.
Yeah. Namaste, namasko.
Bye.